Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. What would you do if you were trapped in a room with some man who wanted to harm your kids? I will be ready to throw a punch. Today, we are watching and reacting to the 2022 thriller Shut In, which will show us exactly how we should handle such a situation. Let's get into it.
Hello everyone. Back again with film recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the thriller films from 2022, titled Shut In. Before we get to the storyline, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and great day. Without further ado, let's get straight to the storyline. In the opening scene, a little girl named Lainey is seen running around the farmland, picking up an apple among the rotten ones. She heads back home with an apple in her hand, and gives it to her mom, Jessica. The mother rolls her eyes as Lainey has been collecting way too many apples that go uneaten, and tells Lainey that they don't need them. Jessica is a single mother with two young children named Lainey and Mason. The small family lives in Jessica's late grandma's house in the middle of nowhere, and as a former drug addict, Jessica is struggling to get by and is planning to move out of town, in hopes of
I'm sorry, when I hear that somebody is living in the middle of nowhere in a movie, it always doesn't end well. Why would you live in the middle of nowhere? You're a young single mom with two kids, clearly under like 3 or something. This is already not starting out right. But let's see what happens.
getting a good job and starting anew. As she is moving out, she throws all the food inside the car, before working on clearing up the pantry. The house was so old and damaged that the pantry door doesn't open from the inside, so to keep it from closing, Jessica blocks it with a brick. She starts to throw all the things inside a garbage bag, when she sees her grandma's Bible, and decides to keep it. But unbeknownst to her, the brick wasn't tall enough to hold the door. The door slowly starts swinging shut, and locking her in.
Lainey, listen.
Jessica turns on the lights and calls for her eldest daughter, Lainey, to open the door for her, but the young child isn't strong enough to twist the rusty knob. So Jessica tries to open and kick the door, but it wouldn't budge. As soon as she notices the door's unscrewable hinges, she shouts for Lainey, and instructs her to get whatever tools she can from the red box on the porch. Lainey fetches her a screwdriver to loosen the door hinges, but she is unable to do so because the screwdriver is not the right one for the screw. After some time,
Imagine if you're like claustrophobic and this happened to you. Honestly, I have experienced this before. I've been shut in a room before where I couldn't open from, and it was a terrible experience. Like the few minutes I spent there, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. So I can imagine her frustration because I can clearly tell that she is getting frustrated. Let's see if she will make it.
we see Jessica sitting down, seemingly have given up. But then, Lainey announces that her daddy, aka Jessica's ex-boyfriend, Rob, is at the house to fetch his toolbox. With no other option, she asks for his help.
This is yours.
I'm just kidding. Wow, calm down, Jess.
Rob the ex is a drug addict, and thus,
That really touched my soul. I really thought he was looking here again. Oh. Thankfully, the pantry didn't look small. It looked quite spacious. It would have been a different story if her pantry was like a small room. Clearly, the pantry doesn't have windows, so yeah. Let's continue.
Jessica gatekeeps him from interacting with their children. Case on point, he is currently high and he's brought a fellow addict friend of his, Sammy, to the house. What makes it even worse, Sammy is a convicted child molester. But despite it all, Rob still tries to get back together, saying that Jessica is too much of a snob now, because she thinks she's better than them now that she's clean. In his mind, they were a power couple back when they were both still drug addicts, and he wants them to be that way again.
They were a power couple? Really? And talk about the effect of drugs. Not thinking twice before bringing a PDF file around your children. That is what drugs do. Like no regard, no concern for your children, your little girl. And you bring a registered CEO around your child. He's not thinking straight, clearly, because he's on drugs.
When she refuses his advances, he gaslights her for being an incapable mother for getting stuck inside the pantry, and slaps her. She tries reaching her phone to call emergency, but he violently scoops her up and locks her inside the pantry before she could. Hearing all the noises, Lainey comes downstairs and Jessica instructs her to lock herself and her brother Mason in her room. Rob also doesn't stop there. He begins stabbing nails through the door, impaling Jessica's palm and causing her to scream in pain. She can also hear Sammy offering to take the kids to his place, and desperately begs Rob to keep Sammy away from their kids. Once he's done, he slides a packet of drugs into the room, and tells her that he's going to leave her locked in until she starts using again. Jessica doesn't get a response from Rob after that and hears the front door.
This man is wicked. Talk about a crab. You know the analogy of crabs. When you put crabs in a bucket together, when one is trying to crawl up and out of the bucket, you realize that all the other crabs are trying to pull them down. This is literally what this man is doing to her. The wickedness, the jealousy, the bitterness, because she rejected you, because she no longer wants to be part of you. How senseless, how heartless could he be? He literally has no regard for his children, honestly. Wow, I hope this lady survives. I hope she doesn't go back. I really hope she doesn't go back.
Close, which means the men have left. She wraps her wounded palm with table napkins, and after a while, she hears someone's footsteps running downstairs. It turns out to be Lainey, and the daughter innocently asks her what she's doing in the pantry, and informs her mother that the pantry door has been boarded shut, making it impossible to open. The only thing Jessica could do for now is instruct her child to lock the front door, but we're not sure if little Lainey understands how to do this. To make it even worse, she can't seem to find Jessica's phone anywhere. Being very young, Lainey is scared to go to the bathroom alone, and so when she couldn't hold in her pee for much longer, she pisses by the door, and begs for Jessica to not get mad at her for doing so. A few hours later, Lainey announces that she is...
I'm sorry, but if her child can run to the fields and pluck an apple, shouldn't her child be potty trained by now? Like, I'm not judging her parenthood or whatever, but that child looked old enough to be potty trained. Look, I don't have children. I've never had children. I mean, I'm not close to having children. But, I guess it's all part of the plot, but nah, that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. And I really hope their father and his friend have actually left. I hope they are not like lurking around somewhere. And I really hope their father's friend does not come back alone to harm the children, because I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's continue and see what happens.
Hungry. Meanwhile, all the food in the house has already been packed inside her car, which Keith's Rob has stolen.
Oh, no.
The only sustenance left in the house is jars of Jessica's grandma's apple butter and a bottle of liquor. She pours some apple butter onto a plate and slides it through the door, enabling Lainey to eat and asking her to feed baby Mason too. When night comes, we can see the poor mother lying on the floor
Can
to
the
sleep.
baby
As it
eat
turns
that?
out, Lainey is lying on the floor right outside the door because she is...
Is this baby lying in her pee? I mean, when you're desperate, when in this circumstance, I don't think they are actually thinking. I'm sure the mom is just glad to be able to see her child, but that's kind of disgusting.
scared of sleeping on her own. On the next morning, she feeds her kids with more apple butter and realizes how bad her wound has gotten. She asks Lainey to fetch her something strong and metal, but the child doesn't seem to comprehend what she means. The little girl keeps fetching her the wrong items, which frustrates Jessica and causes her to yell. When she hears Lainey cry, she apologizes immediately. Soon after, Lainey comes back carrying a screwdriver she found outside the house. With newfound hope, Jessica starts to chip at the floor tiles despite her hand injuries. She is confident that she can get out if she keeps digging. But her hope doesn't last long. Lainey announces that Sammy the child molester is in the house. This causes Jessica to panic, so she quickly instructs Lainey to lock herself with Mason in her room upstairs. As expected, Sammy walks up to the pantry door just to rub in the fact that he's going to take Lainey, feeling like it's his...
I literally suspected that this is what would happen. Oh my God, she must be feeling so scared. Like, he's clearly throwing it in her face. It's like he's threatening her, torturing her indirectly, you know? Man, you better not touch her kids. You better not touch her kids. I hope that this arouses like the fighter in her. I hope that what this man wanting to take her child, like, arises a fighter in her, the fighter in her, because, you know, right now she's just been going with the flow, being calm, trying to figure things out, trying to figure out a way to leave the pantry. But I hope that like some giant arises in her, because nah, not on my watch. A PDF file is not taking a child on my watch.
Right, because Rob owes him money. He proceeds to climb upstairs to look for Lainey, so Jessica tries to think quickly. Jessica then announces that she has Rob's meth packet in the room with her, and offers to trade it in exchange for letting her out. The bad guy takes the bait, but refuses to let her out, because he doesn't want to be on Rob's bad side. This leaves her no option, but to come up with another plan. She tells Sammy that she's willing to slide him the drugs as long as he leaves her family alone. The mother also claims that she is injured so she can't move around, and Sammy has to reach far inside for her to hand him the drugs. After some convincing, he does as asked.
Oh my
Only
God,
that
she's
once
going
he
to make him
slides
more
his arm
angry.
in, she stabs the screwdriver through his palm, and drives it deeper with a brick, trapping him there. He screams in fury and cusses at her, and after some time, he starts to beg for her to set him free, all the while she continues to chip away at the floor. When she keeps ignoring him,
I love that. Oh my God, thank God. I thought she was going to give him the mirth. Of course, he wouldn't have honored his word. So it's more like, you are not going anywhere. You know, you are stuck with me here then. You're stuck with me here then. If you don't want to leave us alone, you're stuck with me here then. I love her thinking.
he starts teasing her by saying that Jessica will relapse sooner or later, because once a drug addict, always a drug addict. Vexed, she slashes his palm to get him to shut up.
These devils.
Night falls, and a storm rages outside.
They are like the devil on her shoulder, like telling her to go back to drugs. And then there's an angel like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can stay away from drugs. They're just devils. You know, this is why he's her ex, obviously. This is why. He wasn't really leading her anywhere great. He was just stagnating her life, keeping her stagnant at one place, marking time at one place. And when she finally broke free, he can't accept it. And now look at his friend. His friend is also trying to torment her. The people we surround ourselves with, very important.
Causing the electricity to blow. Scared, little Lainey starts calling for her mother and rushes downstairs,
Girl, stay in
unaware
the
of
room.
Sammy lying by the door. Sammy seizes the opportunity to snatch her, and begins threatening to break the girl's leg if Jessica doesn't let him go. When she hears her daughter crying, she gets so desperate that she pours liquor all over Sammy's hand. She then pulls out her lighter, setting him on fire, and forcing him to let go of Lainey. Unfortunately, fire also starts spreading inside the pantry, so she is forced to take it out.
Oh no.
Sammy burns to death, while Lainey seems to have gone silent. Afterwards, Jessica prepares herself with a blanket and a candle and falls asleep out of exhaustion. The following
Wait, Sammy burned to death? Was Jessica able to break free from his hold, or did she die too? Because, was Lainey able, her child, was she able to break free from his hold? Because clearly she's saying that Lainey has been silent. She's not heard Lainey's voice since that occurrence. I hope her child is alive, honestly.
morning, she tries calling for Lainey to check if she's okay, but doesn't hear an answer. The whole ordeal takes a toll on Jessica, so she opens the drug packet and is about to take it, but she backs out when she sees the Bible. Jessica then notices a dollar bill stuck in between the pages of her grandmother's old Bible. She goes through the holy book and discovers a plenty of dollar bills stuck inside, serving as bookmarks for passages her grandma wanted her to read to remind her to stay strong. Also, she finds a note which contains a special recipe on how to make the best apple butter. She got emotional by the gesture and ended up throwing the book at the cross hanging at the end of room, because this discovery won't help her escape.
Oh, that's
The
a
cross
door.
breaks, and when Jessica moves to pick it up, she notices a leak in the ceiling. She tries ripping the wood planks apart and discovers that it isn't hard to do so, because the ceiling wood is weak and soaked in water. An idea springs to mind, so she checks on Sammy to make sure he's dead, before pulling the screwdriver off his hand. Up next, she continues to pick away at the ceiling, until she creates a hole through. It doesn't take her long to get out of there, and now she can escape to the upstairs bathroom. Pieces of apples are scattered all over the hall, and the bedroom door is locked shut, forcing her to break in. Once inside, she witnesses how the bedroom is a mess, and there is a mound buried underneath layers of blankets.
Oh my God.
She prepares for the worst as she uncovers the blankets one by one, until she finds her two children there, lying still.
Oh my God.
Mom, I'm hungry.
Luckily, Lainey and Mason were just sleeping. The kids were hungry, so she takes the children downstairs.
What a relief. What a relief. Because I was like, wait, does that mean that Sammy killed them before and was pretending? Like, I was getting confused. So many things were rushing through my mind. I was like, okay, or did her ex come back and realize that Sammy was dead and then kill his children? Because clearly he doesn't care about his children, clearly. They're alive! They're alive! Yes! Okay, we have about 4 minutes more to go. Let's see what happens, because this is a happy ending, but clearly the movie hasn't ended, so I'm guessing something else might happen.
And takes Sammy's motorcycle keys. However, the storm is still raging outside, and Rob took away her car keys so she couldn't drive away with her car.
Wait, Sammy did not really burn to death like they indicated. His body clearly, he looks like still put together as a human being, of course.
She figures there's a chance it might be unlocked, so she makes a break for it, only to discover that the doors are indeed locked. This leaves her with no option but to break the door with a brick to fetch some food. But as they rush back inside, Lainey dropped her animal crackers. The little girl later begs for Jessica to fetch the animal crackers for her. As the mother goes outside to please her daughter's wishes, we see Sammy standing at the window, meaning that he's still alive after all.
When I saw that he wasn't fully burnt to death, like body charred and all that, I suspected that this man would wake up, because I was like, why hasn't the movie ended if her children are alive? Most of the time they end on a happy note, I hope he doesn't lock the door and leave her outside.
Jessica panics and tries to get inside, but he's locked the door. She grabs the stone and uses it to smash the glass in the front door. Once she's in, she follows the sound of her children's cries upstairs and finds Sammy holding baby Mason and a knife. He threatens to gut the baby, while Jessica begs him to change his mind, but...
Okay, I think my thing is, what does he really want? What does he really want? I know he's a pedophile, right? And he came for the child. At first, he came for her daughter, Because that's what he said when he came, that he's about to take Lainey away. He didn't even talk about her son, her baby. Right? He didn't even talk about his son, her baby. Right? Like, what more does he want? Does he want drugs from her? Like, what does he want? Because clearly he has the drugs. He's a drug dealer because he was saying that her ex owes him. Right? So that's why he was going to take her child at first. So what more does he want? Is it that now he's angry because she tried to kill him? Is that why he's still here? Because I don't get what he's still doing here. I really don't get it. I know it's raining and everything, but I really don't get why this man is still here. What exactly does he want from them? He just wants to torture them, torment them. Like, some people are just evil. Some people are, how can a grown man as you, why am I even about to ask that question? Forget it. He's a pedophile. So I don't think that he has empathy towards children at all. So why am I being about to say, how can a grown man like you be pointing a knife towards a baby and be so comfortable with it? Like, it's so normal to him. But then again, he's a pedophile. He's screwed in the head. He's screwed in the head. He's a psychopath, you know? So are we surprised?
This time Sammy is looking for revenge. Just in time,
So
Rob
that's what he
shows up,
wants,
pointing
revenge.
a gun at Sammy and scaring him into letting the kid go. Jessica takes her kids to safety.
Oh, so he cares about his children after all? Or is this a plan? And why is he not wet? It is raining. Has he been in the house the whole time? I don't know. Who saved Lainey from getting burnt? Did Lainey run away or was it Rob? Just to trap her into coming out? I don't know. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's see what happens.
While Rob thinks that Sammy had done something horrible to his children, so he shoots the guy dead. He then asks her for some money, so she tells him that her grandma left some in the pantry. The man brings
going
the
to
door
lock him
open
in.
and starts collecting the money from the floor.
She's going to lock him
Jessica
in.
then asks him to let her and
Oh.
her kids go, but he won't let her. Instead, he's adamant in wanting to see her relapse and asks her to take some drug.
Yeah. That wasn't smart of her. She should have locked him in and called the police. I don't care if the phone lines are not working. She should have kept him there. Oh, but now she created a space to come out, so he would have come out eventually. I get it. I get why she didn't lock him in. She just wants the freedom. She's just like, man, just leave me alone. You know, like when a woman is over a relationship, or when anyone generally is over a relationship and the other person keeps it, it's like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Just take what you want and leave me alone. Go. The whole point is I don't want to see you. I don't want you in my life. That is exactly what is happening here. But he's like a cankerworm, still trying to attach himself to her and torment her.
With him. Knowing full well how dangerous Rob is, she cooperates. But first, she asks him to fetch the rest of the food from the car. When he's outside, she prepares some apple butter and makes him a sandwich. Rob seems absolutely excited once he's back inside because he thinks Jessica is warming up to him again and has agreed to relapse and become
hope
drug
she's
addicts
poisoned
together
it.
like old times. He devours the sandwich and goes to prepare the drugs for them. Since they don't want the kids to see, they go to the living room, and Rob goes first, injecting drugs into his system. Jessica tries to buy some time by saying that she isn't ready to take drugs again. This annoys the man, so he points the gun at her and violently manhandles her while forcing her to tie her arm and inject the drugs.
What?
And then suddenly, the drugs he injected is starting to take effect. Jessica takes the opportunity to run when Rob wobbles. She runs upstairs to the bedroom, and as a last desperate attempt, she thinks about jumping out the window.
Where are her kids?
But Rob catches up to her and pins her to the wall, about to inject her by force. Just in time, all the drugs in his system gets his body to shut down, as he starts hyperventilating and crawling across the room. Jessica reveals to him that she put the meth inside his sandwich, and now he's overdosing. Furious, he threatens to kill her still, so she pushes him out of the window, killing him. The next scene shows a time jump. Jessica has changed her mind about moving to a new house, and decided to stay in.
Girl. Anyway, whatever. But I've always wondered, you know, when movies end like that, like someone is killed and there was no witness. I always wonder how people are able to like explain their way through why there are 2 dead men in her. Oh, but the thing is, okay, with my background, the thing is they are in her house, you know, and so they are literally intruders, and so she can actually kill them depending on the state she's in. She can't actually claim self-defense. Yeah, so they are in her home, so she can actually claim self-defense, right? Because they are in her home. See? My background in law is working. Let's continue.
House she inherited from her grandma. She now makes a living by making homemade apple butter, and life seems to be looking up for her because she has made up her mind to never relapse again. The business is doing well as folks in town seem to love her apple butter, thanks to the recipe left by her.
So it went from she lives in the middle of nowhere to folks in town love her apple butter. I guess we are in a modern society and so distribution exists. Cars exist, so I'm sure she could move her products from one point to another anyway.
Late grandmother. And thus, the small family leaves happily ever after.
Predictable and typical,
Okay, guys,
I guess.
That's all the recap of Shut in 2020.
You know, this is just a cool movie to watch to pass away time when you want to release some angst and just be like, girl, get up and fight. Like, what are you doing? Like, girl, this, that. I would give this movie a 4 out of 10. Like, I'm not going to look for the full movie to watch it. Like, I'm perfectly okay with this recap, you know? It's not a movie I'm going to, like, go out of my way to find. You know? Yeah, this was just a movie for us to while away some time. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If perhaps you've watched the full movie and there's something that this recap may have missed, share in the comments. Let's start, a thread. Thank you so much for sticking around. Since you liked this watch party, maybe not necessarily the movie, but liked the watch party in general, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe. Bye, guys.